Good evening, friends, and thank you so much for this month's conversation. After a long time, we have Aashish sir, Aashish Somaiya. This time around, as a CEO of whiteoak AMC. I think after 2 years, we are having you back, and we are having this conversation with you. Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Sir, I'll straight away come to a conclusion because the most important message that investors are looking forward to right now is that in last 22 months,
Mhm.
market has practically gone nowhere. We have seen, I don't know how many possible events, what could have not have happened, have also happened. So how are you reading it? What has happened in last 22 months? Why we have not made money, and what will happen going ahead also?
So Vikash ji, actually सुनने में अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. People may not like to hear this, but last 22 months we didn't make money. Uh, we should be thankful we didn't lose too much money.
Yes, correct. We have
because
not lost also. Yes.
because अगर जैसे you said 22 months, meaning that let us say that in July August 2021, if somebody told you कि इंडिया में से 40-50 बिलियन डॉलर का एफआई सेलिंग हो जाएगा, यूरोप में बड़ा वॉर हो जाएगा, तेल का दाम 125 छू के आएगा, एंड अमेरिका का इंटरेस्ट रेट 5% हो जाएगा, you know the whole thing, right?
Yes, yes.
So 22 months back, if somebody told you that because you all these things are going to happen, so what you would have imagined? You would have imagined कि बर्बाद हो जाएगा, सब खत्म हो जाएगा. मतलब आप अपना you would have liquidated your whole equity portfolio and put it under a pillow. Because who can imagine a war? Who can imagine American interest rates going from 0 to 5 point something and all, right? It's never happened in our careers. So you would have liquidated everything and run away. But now, what is the question? The question is that last 22 months we didn't make money. If you ask me, we are lucky. We deserve to lose a lot of money. So, see, considering what all has played out, it would have been a very disastrous situation. But domestic investors, the underlying strength of earnings and cash flows, that has not allowed us to fall beyond a point. Sector rotation in the market. When in 2021, when market was 18,000 Nifty, some other sectors were performing. In November 22, December 22, when Nifty crossed 18,000, some other sectors like commodity and PSU were performing. Now again we crossed 18,000. Now it is private sector banks and some other sectors which are performing. So we are lucky that we are still able to hold fort. We have got away with some sector rotation. We got away with some volatility. But considering what has happened, we are only saved by the strength of domestic economy and only saved by the uh, flows which are there in the local market. If we were to be left to the vagaries of the external macro, we would have suffered a lot more. And last thing I'll tell you is that in 22 months when market didn't move, it's not that nothing happened. You look at Sensex EPS. Sensex EPS, I think, is up by nearly 25%.
Yes.
So it's a time correction. Market has become cheap. Our portfolios, forget EPS, on free cash flow basis, our portfolios are 35-40% cheap. So while we've not made money, the market and our portfolios have become more valuable, which gives me the confidence that if we didn't make money in last 18 to 20 months, we are likely to make a lot of money in the next 18 to 20 months. Last example I'll give you is that if 18 to 20 months back somebody told you that a packet of biscuits is for 10 rupees, you will say, yeah, even now it is 10 rupees. But that time the packet of biscuits had 5 biscuits in it. Now there are 6 biscuits in it. So पैसा नहीं बना, but पैसा नहीं गवाया, and the fundamentals and cash flows have given a time correction to the portfolio. So next 18 months is going to be much better than the last 18 months. That's how I would put it.
So ideally, I mean, I should put it this way: कि the reversion to mean is something which is always constant in our market. Last 2 years we have not made money. I mean, market is absolutely flat. Next 2 years if we build in. So ideally, in a 4-year scenario, we have made money in market by historical terms 12 to 15%.
Yeah,
तो next 2 years में अगर वो होना है तो it should be a phenomenal 2 years that way.
it's quite, if you really ask me the probability, see, we should never think कि ऐसे ही होगा और ऐसा तो नहीं होगा. So it is all, market is always probabilistic. So on your point, I will say that I am not trying to hedge my bets, but I will say that the probability that the next 2 years will be very different from the last 18 to 20 months, that probability is very high. If we haven't made money in the last 18 to 20 months, we will make attractive return in the next 18 to 20 months. The probability, the chances of that are much more than the chances of not happening. So you are right that, it is always mean reversion, provided that underlying companies and cash flows have delivered, which has happened.
Correct.
There's no value destruction. Fundamentally, we've done quite okay. So yes, I agree with you that, next couple of years, there is a possibility of outsized returns.
Any sector specific things that I mean at your level you are seeing, Ashish, which can really do wonders? Because what we have seen in last 2 year 3 is that at times one sector is doing good and then it fizzles out and another picks up and then third and then fourth. So are we going to see overall market participating so that we really see a big move coming in all across?
See, one of the defining features of last 3-4 years, and like you rightly said, some sectors come in the limelight, some sectors go out. Generally, I have seen that last 3 to 4 years, the macro disturbances, the macro rotations, as a result of which best performing sector, best performing market cap, best performing style like growth, value, quality, momentum. Because the macro has changed so rapidly in last 3-4 years, style, sector, market cap, that has also changed very rapidly in last 3-4 years. So if you see 2018 ILFS defaulted, before ILFS defaulted, and before oil went to $88, before rupee depreciated, till 2018, the market was with domestic cyclicals and growth oriented companies. After ILFS defaulted, we got a credit crisis, we had liquidity tightness, US policy also was a concern, we had high fiscal deficit. So 2019, if you see, it transformed from growth to defensive sectors and quality outperforming. 2021-22 was more about PSUs, value, contra, cyclical, in between small cap rally, then small cap correction. And all this oil going up, war, geopolitics, US interest rates, COVID, and then the normalization from COVID. इतने सारे मैक्रो चेंजेस पिछले 3-4 साल में हुए हैं in a very concentrated time frame that there has been severe rotation of sectors and styles. From here, I think that it's quite possible that we will see a slightly more balanced and a slightly more secular, movement. And why I'm saying this, because it is more likely to be grounded in our domestic circumstances. Last 3-4 years जो चीजें मैंने आपको बोली, other than that ILFS debacle, a lot of it was global disturbances. But I think from here, it is quite likely, and I'm quite hopeful, that market will be centered around domestic circumstances, and the worst of the global disturbances are hopefully getting behind us.
Just one more thing which just stuck in my mind, that from 0 to 4% kind of interest rate we have seen in US. It was for a very long period 0%. Do you think that now this 4% is actually going to be for a very long time?
No, I see it's like this. It's always a continuum, right? So I don't think that there can be a long pause. Whatever data we are seeing, they are already feeling the impact of raising interest rates too fast and by a big margin. What do I mean by impact? Like, for example, their economy, if you see commercial real estate, if you see real estate, you see interest rates, you see inflation. A lot of those things have started to show a sign of, right? All this Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, that collateral damage is evident. And they are not out of the woods. They might have more dominoes falling, and that will cause some short-term volatility. But I personally think that at some point in time, if their actions are having a desired effect where the economy is really going to slow down, then central banks typically try to calibrate. When it is overheating up, they try to slow it down. But if it slows down faster than what they feel, or if it slows down at a damaging pace, then they will again try to cushion it or again try to calibrate it. So this is not something which is forecastable, but I think it's part of the cycle. And I know you are alluding to higher for longer
Correct.
kind of thing. I don't think that is likely. Maybe, what do we call higher for longer? Is it like if there is a pause for 6 months, is it going to be a pause for 12 months? I don't think that is inordinately long. You will see that ultimately their actions are having an effect, and at some point in time they'll be forced to calibrate the outcome.
No, I mean, if I can rephrase it, are we going to be going back to those 0% kind of a regime again for a longer period of time? I mean,
No,
if
see
I
that, yeah. So I think that looks to be unlikely to me. The reason is that if you see, it's not always the circumstances will be there that you keep low interest rates and still you don't get inflation.
right,
So we have to think that in the last decade, China was ensuring that they were the price leader for the world, right? Their demographics, their labor costs, China being the factory for the world, right? Lot of technological advancement and lot of efficiency in the system. So there must be multiple factors which allowed the US to grow without having inflation.
right,
In the next decade, those factors may change, right? The demography across the world is changing. People are growing older. Labor costs would go up. You can't expect that entire manufacturing will move from China to somewhere else. If labor cost in China is going up, the prices of stuff will go up. Instead of a frictionless globalized world, and instead of multilateral, you are becoming bilateral. So I don't think that that was a very very wonderful period where at low interest rates with high liquidity they could grow without causing inflation. It's exceptional. I don't think you can again have such a period because all those factors have to again match, right? So I'm not sure again you can have such a period where you keep on having zero interest rates for a decade and inflation doesn't come,
right.
because the trade flows, the tariffs, the labor costs, all of those things will not be the same. So you cannot expect.
Yes, and the world have also changed. It's a different China, it's a different India, it's a different Russia. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of things have changed for them as well.
of course, of
Right,
course.
right, right. Ashish, I'd like to bring back to you, I think maybe 4 or 5 months back, you had written an article in Mint, I remember very well, where you had quoted Buffett that be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So, I mean, it's a very normal quote which we all
Common.
know. But you touched something very important where you spoke about the behavior of each and every investor that though we know about it,
Hmm.
do we actually practice it?
Hmm.
So I want you to speak in length to my investors today that that what are you trying to say?
सी एक्चुअली क्या है, हर जगह पे लोगों के ऑफिस के सॉफ्ट बोर्ड्स पे, किसी के स्क्रीन सेवर पे, हर जगह पे लिखा होता है और ये बहुत बार कोट होता है, बी ग्रीडी व्हेन अदर्स आर फेयरफुल, बी फेयरफुल व्हेन अदर्स आर ग्रीडी. लेकिन आप एग्जांपल ले लीजिए कि आपके लिए ग्रीडी बनने का सबसे बड़ा मौका कब था? मार्च 2020 में था.
100%.
अगर ज़्यादा एग्जैजरेट एग्जांपल नहीं ले तो मई जून 2022 में निफ्टी 15,000 था. अभी मार्च 2023 में निफ्टी 16,500 था. राइट. तो ऐसा किसी ने और एक स्टेटमेंट कहा है कि ऑल पास्ट करेक्शंस लुक लाइक मिस्ड अपॉर्चुनिटीज एक्सेप्ट द वन यू आर गोइंग थ्रू राइट नाउ. राइट. तो ये सारी चीजें हैं, लेकिन हकीकत क्या है कि व्हेन द टाइम इज देयर टू बी ग्रीडी यू विल बी फियरफुल. आप नहीं कर पाते हो. एंड व्हेन द टाइम इज देयर टू बी फियरफुल यू हैव heightened confidence, right? That अरे बॉस ये तो देखा है हमने, हम पैसा बन रहा है. Why that happens is because ये जो स्टेटमेंट है ना, ये हमको टिपिकल जो किताबों में इकोनॉमिक्स सिखाया ना वैसा है. जैसे हमको इकोनॉमिक्स जो सिखाया गया है उसमें क्या बोला गया है कि ह्यूमन बीइंग्स आर रैशनल एंड लॉजिकल. इसका सीधा सीधा मतलब क्या बनता है कि हमको आपको इकोनॉमिक्स सिखाया है तो हमको बोला गया है कि भाई किसी चीज का जब दाम गिरता है तो उसकी डिमांड बढ़ती है, और किसी चीज का जब दाम बढ़ता है तो उसकी डिमांड गिरती है। ये इकोनॉमिक्स है। इसका अजम्पशन ही है कि ह्यूमन बींग्स आर रैशनल एंड लॉजिकल, तभी तो ऐसा होएगा ना। बट विकास जी आप बताओ, ऐसा होता है क्या? किसी चीज की जब दाम गिरती है तो वाकई में उसका डिमांड बढ़ता है क्या? ऐसा शेयर बाजार में होता है क्या?
कभी नहीं होता।
आपके रोलेक्स वॉच में होता है क्या?
नहीं होता।
आपके मर्सिडीज गाड़ियों में होता है? रियल एस्टेट में कहीं पे होता है? नहीं होता है। सो क्या है, और आप देखिए कि जिन लोगों ने हमको इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ाया, जिन लोगों को इकोनॉमिक्स के बड़े बड़े दिग्गज नोबेल प्राइज वगैरह मिले हैं, पिछले 10 साल में तो 2 बार नोबेल प्राइज ऐसे लोगों को मिले हैं जो अब हमको बता रहे हैं कि भाई ये सब थियरी गलत था। ह्यूमन बींग्स आर नॉट रैशनल एंड लॉजिकल, ह्यूमन बींग्स आर इमोशनल एंड साइकोलॉजिकल, राइट। तो हकीकत क्या है कि ये ग्रीडी फियरफुल ग्रीडी, ये हम सब मानते भी हैं, बोलते भी है, लेकिन करने का पॉसिबल नहीं है, क्योंकि ह्यूमन बींग्स जो हैं वो रैशनल और लॉजिकल नहीं है, वो इमोशनल एनिमल है, करेक्ट। तो जब भी ऐसा मौका आएगा आप उसको कैप्चर नहीं कर पाओगे, आप ऐसा अज्यूम ही मत करो कि कैप्चर कर पाओगे। सो द बेटर अप्रोच इज दैट कि भाई कब ग्रीडी होना, कब फियरफुल होना, इसके ऊपर ध्यान मत दो। द बेटर अप्रोच इज दैट यू बी ओपन माइंडेड एंड यू बी प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक। जैसे मार्च 2020 में बाजार काफी गिरा, तो कंपनियों के मार्केट कैप 60-70% गिर गए। लोगों ने तय कर लिया कि भाई अभी तो हम ही लोग डायनासोर है, खत्म हो जाएगा सब। और जब अक्टूबर 2021 में पहली बार 18,500 आया तो लोगों को ऐसा विश्वास था कि भाई अपना तो अमृतकाल कल आ रहा है, सारे पेड़ आसमान को छूने वाले हैं। तो क्या होता है कि जब आप एकदम एक्सट्रीम पोजीशन ले लेते हो ना, जब आप बहुत ही कन्विंस्ड होते हो ना, गलतियां तब होती है। तो अपने आप को भी या किसी को भी इतना कन्विंस करने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि वो कन्विक्शन गलत होने वाला है। सो यू शुड नॉट बी डिटर्मिनिस्टिक कि ऐसा ही हो। जैसे मार्च 2020 आया, आप टीवी देख रहे हैं, अखबार देख रहे हैं, लोग घबरा रहे हैं, इंडेक्स 40% डाउन है, उसमें आप भी बोलोगे खत्म हो गया यार, अभी तो सब बर्बाद है। अरे भाई वो तो हर कोई बोल रहा है। व्हाट इज द चांस कि दुनिया खत्म नहीं होगी? आप ये सोचो कि क्या चांस है कि दुनिया खत्म नहीं होगी। और जब अक्टूबर 2021 आता है तो आप ये सोचो क्या वाकई में सारे पेड़ आसमान को छूते हैं क्या? अमृतकाल तो 25 साल के बाद आने वाला है, अभी क्यों हर दिन 1% बढ़ रहा है? सो बी हमेशा ओपन माइंडेड रहिए, डिटर्मिनिस्टिक मत होइए किसी भी चीज को लेकर के, ये तो पक्का ऐसा कर, पक्का पक्का कुछ नहीं होता है। सो बी प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक एंड डोंट बी डिटर्मिनिस्टिक। क्योंकि जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि दुनिया में हर चीज ब्लैक वाइट, सही गलत, अच्छा बुरा, छोटा नाटा, लंबा, ऐसा नहीं होता है। लाइफ इज अ सीरीज ऑफ ग्रे। तो मार्च 2020 में सबको सब ब्लैक लग रहा था, अगर आपको ग्रे भी लगता है तो आप पैसा बना लोगे। अक्टूबर 2021 आता है तो सबको सब कुछ सफेद लगता है, रोजी लगता है, तभी आप थोड़ा ग्रे देखोगे तो आप बच जाओगे। सो नेवर बी ऑन एक्सट्रीम, नेवर बी डिटर्मिनिस्टिक एंड ऑलवेज बी प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक, ऑलवेज बी ओपन टू पॉसिबिलिटीज कि भाई ये सब तो ऐसा बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन ऐसा होने का भी चांस है क्या? आई थिंक दैट इज द सीक्रेट फॉर सक्सेस। अगर आपको बाजार से अपने आप को बाजार से बाहर फेंकवाना नहीं है, अगर आपको डटे रहना है, तो ओपन माइंडेड होना, प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक होना और हर तरफ का सोचना बहुत जरूरी है।
करेक्ट। तो मतलब बेसिकली व्हाट यू आर ट्राइंग टू से इज मतलब एक ओपिनियन मत फॉर्म करिए,
हाँ,
मंदी की भी और तेजी की भी।
बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल दिया आपने। जैसे मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ, इसी के ऊपर बिल्ड करता हूँ। समझो क्रिकेट चल रहा है, तो हम सब लोग है ना ओपिनियनेटेड कब होते हैं? इंडिया पाकिस्तान का मैच, मतलब अपना तो मतलब उस पर बैटिंग की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मतलब अपना तो वजूद उसके ऊपर है, मतलब कि भाई अगर एक अच्छा ओवर गिरा ना तो अरे जीत गए जीत गए जीत गए, एक खराब ओवर गिरा ना, अरे यार ये टीम कैसा बनाते हैं यार, लगता है इसमें सब पहचान से आते हैं, कोई मेरिट नाम का चीज है कि नहीं, कैसे टीम बना ली है ये लोग। तो इंडिया पाकिस्तान मैच होता है ना, तो आप क्रिकेट और क्रिकेट के न्यूआंसेस तो देख ही नहीं रहे हो, आपको बस ये चाहिए कि भाई इंडिया जीतना चाहिए, और हर ओवर हर गेंद के बाद आप कंक्लूजन ड्रॉ कर रहे हो, अरे जीत गए, अरे हार गए। लेकिन आप सोचो कि एशेस चल रहा है, इंग्लैंड और ऑस्ट्रेलिया, राइट, तो आप बढ़िया तरीके से क्रिकेट देख रहे हो उसके न्यूआंसेस के लिए। अगर मैं आपको बोलूं ना कि बताओ टेक्निक में कौन अच्छा बॉलर है, तो इंग्लैंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया के मैच में आप सही पकड़ पाओगे। इंडिया पाकिस्तान के मैच में आपने टेक्निक क्या देखा होगा? आपने ये देखा होगा यार ये बहुत खतरनाक बॉलिंग कर रहा है, आई होप ये आउट नहीं हो जाए। So if you want to learn the game and if you want to be a connoisseur of the game, then you will do that in Ashes. But if you are emotionally entrenched, then you are not going to enjoy the game. Even if you win today, next time I hope I don't lose. So you are not learning cricket, you are not watching cricket. It's just a roller coaster of emotions that doesn't allow you to enjoy the game. That is the point.
Correct. So I must conclude this conversation on this note that to be a successful stock market investor, you should neither be realistic nor be opportunistic, but be probabilistic.
You should always be probabilistic and open minded. बाजार में ना ऐसा कुछ नहीं कि ये तो नहीं चलेगा और ये तो पक्का चलेगा. वो जो स्टेटमेंट ना कि बंद घड़ी भी दिन में 2 बार सही वक्त दिखाती है, वो बाजार के लिए इट अप्लाइज.
हाँ तो बस आंख कान खोल के काम करो. Thank you so much, Ashish.
Thank
It
you.
was very nice talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
everyone.
That
Thank
brings
you.
us to an end of this. Thank you.